And welcome to Rescue Night Live. Hello, everybody. Hope that you all are doing well. Glad to be with you this evening. We have a very full show, and so I'm very excited to go ahead and get started. Before we dive on in to our Media Minute and to a little bit of our theology time, I wanted to let everybody know something we have going on. So we have started a thing called the Breakfast Club. So for everybody out there watching, let you guys know about this. It's obviously a salute to a old movie, some of you may know, but we are doing a Zoom Bible study on Saturday mornings at 9:30, so call the Breakfast Club, and we right now are, we take questions as well as we walk through different topics in the Bible. And if you are interested in being part of our Zoom Bible study, you can check out our post on Instagram that'll have our Zoom info, or you can just go ahead and send us directly an email to rsqyouth@gmail.com with your name and your email in it, and you'll get a response back that will send you all the information you need to know about our Zoom call for the Breakfast Club. So it's really, really awesome. You don't want to miss it. You get to see all the people that you don't get to normally see during the week, and so it's a really, really, really great time. So without any further multiple special guests tonight, so if I could get Miss Stephanie Brown and Miss Jade Mayo to go ahead and come on down. Now, these two are definitely very, very, very familiar faces to you, so they need no introduction. Obviously, Jade has our Media Minute like normal, and Steph and I have been talking about some theology stuff, and so I just, we're actually going to talk more about this on our Breakfast Club Zoom call, so if you like the little snippet of what you hear, then you definitely want to message us and become part of Breakfast Club, so that you can get the more download, detailed version of what we're doing, because it's going to be good. So, without getting to that, getting ahead of ourselves, Jade, can you let us know what is good in worship, podcasts, all that stuff this week that is media?
Yeah, so Jesus Culture just came out with a new album called Church Volume 1.
Okay.
Jonathan McReynolds came out with a new album called People.
All right.
Fire. It's so fire.
House Fires came out with a new song called I'll Give Thanks.
Okay.
Red Rocks Worship came out with an acoustic version of their album called Spark. And then Hillsong republished Awake, but it's the deluxe version.
Okay.
They're all songs, and then there's like acoustic, live, and all of that. And then there's a podcast on Spotify called The Daily Bible, and it started out at the beginning in Genesis, and they read daily throughout the Bible, and they're in 2 Kings right now, so you can go back. It's like 2 minutes.
Okay. That's awesome. And so you've been telling us, too, about, that's awesome. That's a lot of music in 1 week. That's so much. I feel like everybody's like, people are stuck in the house. They need to listen to new, good music. But you keyed us in on Maverick City Volume 3, Part 1,
Yes.
and it is so good. Like, I listened to it because I was like, okay, my wife, Emily's been talking about it, Jade's been talking about it, I've heard some good stuff, so I listened to it one day, and then I just kind of was listening to it, background music. Then I really tuned in. It is unbelievable. It's so good. So, that is my on repeat right now. What's your on repeat?
I've been listening to Awake and also Rattle.
Okay.
That's all I've been listening to.
Okay. I've heard that. So many people. But Emily has that on repeat. What about you?
The Bethel Peace album that just came out. It's so good. It's really low key, and a lot of the songs that I really love, but they're sometimes too intense for those sweet times of devotion with the Lord. That fixes this issue because all the tracks are really chill.
Sweet.
It's good.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, while we are at you, the other day you text me and
did.
something. So normally we don't kind of stir up theological issues that are necessarily questioned or thrown out there. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to do this because I feel like this is something important, because we talk about a lot of times believers' authority, and that believers have authority in Christ Jesus. But we were just talking about questions that we could pose and talk about on our Breakfast Club Bible study, and you shot me one. So can you just throw out that question?
Sure, yeah. So I was just kind of thinking in my thinker about how Christians, believers, like approach prayer, and I texted you just to ask if it was biblical to decree or declare things. Like, is it biblical for a person to say, I declare blah, blah, blah?
Right. And so in kind of in response to some different things that have been happening on social media,
Right.
we see it in different movements. So like certain movements believe you can, certain movements believe you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so, obviously we're going to go back to Scripture and say, what does the Bible say about decreeing and declaring? So first of all, we know that obviously throughout all of Scripture, God tells his people over and over to declare his works. He literally says, declare the works of my hands.
Those literal words.
He literally says, declare the works of my hands. He's like, he wants his people to speak things over their life. He speaks things over their life. Mm-hmm. And so like declaring God's word is so important. It's so valuable. But, you brought this up. Bob Sorge had a great quote that he just put out. Yeah. And actually I was thinking about this in relation to one of my favorite passages of the Bible. Bob Sorge says this quote. Can you lend us in on what he says,
Sure.
if you remember?
So, I mean, like, this is not a direct quote, but essentially he said, like, Jesus didn't say, pray for someone to be healed. He said, heal the sick. Like, don't pray for the sick, heal the sick. Wow, that really raises the bar. And I was like, Bob Sorge, you is right, bruh.
And
like,
so when you talk about decreeing and declaring, that's what you're doing. As a believer, you are saying, like, I'm believing, as a believer, in the power of Jesus' blood, I'm going to speak to something that isn't as though it is. Mm-hmm. And that's making a declaration.
Yeah.
That's declaring something that isn't as though it is. And I think back to the story of Peter and John in Acts chapter 3, where they're walking past the man who is lame and he doesn't have anything, and he's begging, and what he thinks he needs silver and gold for food and for water. And they bring him every day to the beautiful gate. And you have Peter and John, who they've just experienced a life with Jesus, and they have all of Jesus' words stored up in their heart. And they look at him, and Peter's response when he looks at him, which is so culturally taboo at that he shouldn't even be looking on the poor. Yeah. But he looks at the poor man at the beautiful gate and he says, silver and gold I do not have, but what I do have I give to you in the name of Jesus Christ. Rise up and walk. Mm-hmm. He makes a declaration. Yeah. He declares, he decrees, he speaks into existence that man is rising up and walking. And in that moment, he rises up and walks, right? So I think we're going to talk more about this Saturday morning. We're going to look at some more Bible stories. But in a short answer, can a Christian decree and declare?
Yeah, I think
absolutely,
so.
Absolutely.
Well,
thank you so much, both of you lovely ladies, for being on the couch tonight for the Media Minute. It's so good. Make sure y'all check all those out. If you can't remember them all, you can go back and rewatch this episode and hear all the great stuff that Jade said, as well as you want to make sure you check us out on our Zoom, the Breakfast Club Bible study on Saturday mornings at 9:30. Yeah. It's so awesome. So thank you, ladies, and we are going to move on to our next segment. So I have to let you guys know something. So, wow, she just took out a microphone, just took it out, or the microphone took her out. So normally every week I have like one guest on my show. Last week I had quite possibly the most handsome little guest that you could possibly have on a show, my son Gideon. He was fantastic. He was so excited to be on the show. And but I wanted to kind of spice things up. As you can see, I don't have my desk. I don't feel so official. I kind of wanted to lean back a little bit because tonight we're not just bringing on one guest or two guests. We're bringing on three guests, and these are people that Emily and I love very much. We've done life with them, and we've seen them grow so much. And so you all out there, some of you will know them, and I hope that you are excited to see who they are. So tonight, if y'all will go ahead and come on out, lovely ladies, come to the couch. These are our some of our interns. Hello, ladies. How are y'all?
Hello.
So what y'all couldn't see off camera is the entire time that I'm trying to be serious and talking about God's Word is they're back there pointing at me, trying to distract me. And that just lets you know how much I love you, that I can literally tune you out at this point. Anyway, so obviously, Kelby, Katie,
Hello.
Sarah, what do they all have in common? Well, they all have in common that... other than that you're all girls, is that you, and that you graduated the same year.
Yes, we did.
And from the same high school.
Yes, we did.
That you all are rescue interns, the original rescue interns. I mean, there were others of you, but y'all are like the three that kind of like you were able to first round pick, stuck around and did the dang thing, and like you still serve in ministry here at the church in capacities. When you can, because you're at university, because you're not here, but wanted to have y'all on since, I mean, we're in quarantine and nobody's anywhere but here.
True.
So obviously every week I do something for my guest. I can't feed you all.
Depression.
But I will say this is the funniest thing ever. So I texted them today and said, hey, can y'all tell me what your favorite drinks are? So I get to pick on Kelby right now, and I love her so good, but I'm going to pick on her. So I say, text me what your top 2 favorite drinks from a gas station are. And she's been watching the show, so she knows normally that I'll buy food, I guess. And so she just texts back, Circus Peanuts and Coke. And I was like,
That's a good combo.
I ain't about to feed you. Like, I ain't your daddy. I ain't gonna feed you. And I was like, you didn't read the text very well, did you?
No, I did not.
But at first I was like, is there a drink that's flavored after Circus Peanuts? Like they've got really weird sodas now. I mean,
I thought you were just being sarcastic. I was like, so then I texted back and I said it with all caps and then like an and sign.
Yeah. And a GIF that was like Coke bottles tinking together. Tink. So I didn't get you your Circus Peanuts, sorry. But I did get y'all your drinks so that you're not so thirsty because it's hot as can be up here. There's a Coca-Cola.
It is very
Yeah, what y'all can't see is the 6,000 lights that are going up here. Snapple.
Yes. Thank you.
You told me to surprise you, but I didn't give it.
Surprise.
Here's the problem.
What?
I can't tell you what store I was at, but because I can't.
This works.
Yeah, but that was.
Perfect. Thank you.
And then
Appreciate it.
I always do coffee, but since y'all were all doing cold drinks, I did a cold coffee. But I went really bougie because I am bougie. I got cold brew, high brew coffee, Mexican vanilla.
That sounds good.
That does sound really
You are very bougie.
I am bougie. All right.
Classy, bougie,
Mexican vanilla.
Yeah.
savage.
Yeah.
Let us know how it is. Give it a go.
I will.
Where'd you get that at?
Oh, it's so good. I got it from a local pharmacy in town.
Okay.
How good was that sound? How good was that sound?
Amazing.
Okay. I had to put it in my coffee cup because it's like weird to not drink out of a
It's
coffee
just
cup.
part of it. It's part of the show.
Yeah,
part
so
of the atmosphere.
it is. It's like the cup is part of the show. Okay, so we're going to do what we always do, but we obviously don't have time to do 2 truths and a lie. So we're going to do 1 truth and a lie for each of you. So it's like a 50-50 shot.
Okay.
And so people out there that are watching, they can guess and they can give their input, but I'm going to see how well I know you all.
Okay.
And so I'm going to try and pick the difference between your truth and your lie. So I hope that y'all got real good ones. You got good ones? I don't even care who goes first. Whoever wants to go first truth.
Kelby, go.
Sister Sarah, go.
I said Kelby first.
Sarah, you're closer to me.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be graduating from Lee next year with a degree in biology.
Okay.
And I have never seen the original Mary Poppins.
Okay. degree next year in biology.
Yes. I hope number 2's a lie.
Never seen Mary Poppins. Okay. You,
Are
Katie.
you gonna? Okay.
I gotta marinate on
You
it.
gotta. Okay.
Just really think, pray.
Number 1, my favorite show on Netflix is Stranger Things, and number 2, I've never had a speeding ticket.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
I have seen all of the Jurassic Park films, Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3, and all of the Jurassic Worlds. Or I have never seen all of the Hunger Game films.
Okay. So graduation or
Graduation with a degree in biology.
yep. Or
Never seen the original Mary Poppins.
you've never seen the original Mary Poppins.
That is true. I had to think about that. That is true. I've never seen the original Mary Poppins. My degree is in biochemistry, not biology.
Oh. See, I was guessing.
She tricked you.
I would have.
See, I was doing
tricked
it backwards. See, I should have done this. I should have made y'all do 2 truths and a lie because I was trying to guess which one.
Was true?
Yeah.
Are you just saying that because you don't?
No, I'm being honest. Because I knew, because you called Emily the other day and talked about this on the phone.
About my degree. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. That is true. I did call Emily the other day and talk about this.
And I paid attention.
Okay, I'll take it. But I have never seen the original Mary Poppins, and that is true.
Okay, so now I have to pick. So now I have to make sure that I definitively tell y'all
The
I'm
lie.
picking. Do I have to pick the lie or the truth?
Pick the lie.
Pick
the
the
point of
lie.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
pick the lie. Okay, Katie, remind me of yours. Let me
Okay.
marinate on it for.
My favorite show on Netflix is Stranger Things, and number 2, I've never had a speeding ticket.
Stranger Things is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie.
Yeah.
Why
I
is
knew
it a
that.
lie?
I knew that.
I know that it's like Kelby's favorite show, but I know that if you're at all like me, you're not a big suspense fan. You feel like it's overrated.
I really picked it because I don't even have a Netflix account, so I've never seen Stranger Things in my life.
Oh, well, there you go. You can't even watch Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. All right. Now, here is a movie buff, so this one makes it a little more difficult. You were watching Jurassic Park today. I overheard you say that. The other thing you said, what was the other series of movies? Hunger Games. I feel like Hunger Games was real prevalent in your younger years. But you have been known to like watch a lot of older movies, Breakfast Club, Mystic Pizza, all those other ones. So like, I'm gonna go with the Jurassic Park. I feel like you've missed out on one.
What did I say? Hold on.
I think
That
that's
is
a
your
lie.
lie, right? That's your lie. You said
That
you've
is my
seen
lie.
all of them.
Yeah, that's my lie. I haven't seen any of Jurassic World, but I've seen all of the Jurassic Park series.
All right, so I nailed it. You hadn't
Yeah.
seen all the
I
sweet.
also haven't seen all of
I'm
the
the
Hunger
only one
Games
who got
series.
wrong.
Well, I mean, I got it right, but I guessed it wrong.
Okay.
I did it the wrong way.
Did people guess in, or was
Did
it
anybody
just
guess in?
Frank?
Josh said.
He
that-
doesn't count for me.
Josh and Emily voted.
Okay.
Josh said 1 is a lie for you, 2 is a lie for Katie. Emily said Sarah's first one was a lie, Katie's second was a lie, Kelly's
she
first
knew.
one was a lie.
She knew.
All right. Sweet. Okay, so now we're going to move on. I talked to y'all about some of this stuff beforehand. And so when y'all were interns, obviously there was lots of growing, lots of crazy stuff going on in life. I mean, it was like a super like wild time that we had. Just like we had a brand new youth group, and right after y'all graduated, we were like, we're going to do this leadership thing and just like learn what it means to grow. And so like we in that time had a lot of like cookouts and stuff like that. So I just want to see from the couch, what are maybe some of the funniest or fun memories that y'all have from that season in your life of like being interns that maybe I don't even remember?
I can't go first.
Me either.
Katie, what you got, sis?
I tried to
hard.
think of some funny things that happened, but I'm not very good at thinking of stuff like that.
We had so many.
We did, and a lot of fun times. I mean, obviously on Sunday nights we would have like Bible study and stuff, and I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun because it just gave me a sense of community in a sense, and it allowed us to fellowship and just spend time with one another. Not only did we learn from the lesson, but we also stayed and we had fun together. So that's really what stood
in
out
the
to me
basement
the most.
times when we lived in the basement.
We would have bonfires and all kinds of stuff.
I think that's probably one of like that, and I think the time when y'all were interns, when we decided to venture into Stephanie's home state of Alabama on on a retreat. I feel like that was probably, that weekend probably had some of the funniest, craziest stories that still, like, I think 99% of the world, other than the people that were there, still don't know, but I think it was just like awesome. We got to, like, obviously go to the coffee shop. We did that, and then us getting
lost. What are you talking about?
Well, we went to so we did the Church of the Highlands trip.
Yes.
And that trip was fun, but we got lost so many times driving downtown.
Oh yeah.
And then there was also the Eremos trip, which that was really
incredible.
Yeah. And that was, I think that was like when Skylar first kind of came on board, and then she was like our second round intern.
She came on board all right.
Yes. So that was a good time. So I'll ask you this next question. During that time, because I think that, like most people can attest, that your faith as a Christian is like very much so defined once you get into college. You either walk towards, the Lord, or you walk away from Him. It's kind of one or the other. Rarely do people kind of take the middle road. And I think during that time in y'all's life was a time that you really walked towards Him. So I don't know if y'all have just like a bit of what is like your best lesson learned during that time that you grew the most in spiritually, or like what was an area you grew in the most?
Like recently?
No, like when you were an intern. Yeah.
I think like the biggest moment for me that I always think back to is the Eremos retreat, because I don't know what it was about it, but I feel like something just clicked for all of us. Like we were not distracted, completely unhindered. Like our focus was like having fellowship with each other and communing with the Lord, and that's exactly what we did. And we would have like the most intense, like meaningful worship sessions that like I hadn't experienced before. And I feel like that was like a real turning point for me. Mm-hmm. And that's what I always think back to. It was like a marker for me.
Yeah. See, what's funny that you say that, I think it's interesting to hear from different people's perspectives, which I want to still hear from y'all too, so you're not off the hook. But for me, what I feel like was, for Emily and I too, what we would say is the most defining moment, and y'all will probably remember this, like when Emily and I first met you,
I know what she about to say.
Like you had a look that could kill. Like I always thought that I had done something wrong to you. Like you wouldn't talk. You had that face that you're like, I was like, she's gonna come in one Wednesday night, she's gonna cut me. Like you did. You had that look, right?
Yes, I know.
And like it was. I mean, you were just so closed off at the time. And then we went on our very first retreat ever. We went on an intern retreat.
Yeah. Our senior year.
Yeah, your senior year, and it was kind of like what launched into internship, really. Yes. And you had, we were doing it to launch into the internship, and we were up at Pastor Zach's lake house, and we had this just like phenomenal like time with the Lord that night, and like just people were just crying everywhere. I mean, like Emily was crying everywhere, Zoe was crying everywhere,
I was crying
like
everywhere.
You were crying everywhere, Sunshine was crying everywhere, I was crying everywhere, like everybody was just crying, like just crying. And I remember like you just broke down. You had this moment, and I'm just like. I don't know how else to say it other than say it. Like, you just always wore makeup. It was like your facade. Just always. And I had no idea at all. The next morning you got up, you took a shower, you came in the living room. I was like fixing breakfast. We were eating breakfast. And you came in, and all I heard was like people gasp, like, And I turned around, and all of a sudden, here is
Yeah.
Sarah Loveday with freckles, and you like just covered up all of who you were, and it was so much.
Yeah.
It was like literally in that night, like the Lord took a facade off of you and said, "You can be you.
You're
like
right.
you can
Yeah.
be who you are."
Yeah.
Like I remember that moment.
I do remember that because I did walk out. I was standing in that little hallway, and you're in the kitchen, like with your spatula, and you're like, and I was like, gotta go.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it was a pretty defining moment for like finding your identity in
Yeah.
the Lord. So anyway,
Yeah.
all right, either one of you ladies.
I mean, overall, I would probably say the Airmost trip did a lot for me as well because that was probably one of the first times I gave my testimony in front of a big group of people. But overall, just how God placed this church and Rescue Youth in my life at a time where I needed it the most, it was just like, he just like profoundly placed it, because I was at a point where back in high school, I guess it was around senior year, where me and one of my best friends, we were trying to search for a church and search for community. And
Kaylee
yeah,
Parker.
Kaylee Parker.
Yeah.
What? Shouts to Kaylee Parker.
Yes.
If she watches, we love you so much. You're awesome.
Possible.
Yeah.
And the Lord led us here. But like I was saying, it's just like the time that he placed me, I was in a place of just like dryness and I was stuck, and it just like everything that he did between now and college, it's just like it's helped me in college and like helped me mature spiritually in so many ways, and just having, like I said, community and stuff. It's wonderful to have support.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like too, when you did that, when you took that moment to stand up and speak and share your testimony, which that's obviously yours to share, so I'm not going to share right now. But it was like a really intimate moment for our group on that weekend. But it's really powerful. Like it was very impactful. Mm-hmm. But I think what from my lens, like from the outside looking in, what it's really kind of pushed you towards and doing too, is it's forced, almost like it was a time where the Lord kind of forced your hand in serving in different capacities. So like playing music or whatever other things you like do now, it like, because before that you were very kind of keep to yourself.
Right.
And we were always having to poke and prod you, and I didn't think that we would even get you to speak that weekend. And I thought I was gonna have to like pinch it with somebody else, and you stepped up and you did it.
I was so nervous that whole day. I was like
You
praying the whole
killed
time.
that.
It was
Yeah.
so good.
I don't think I talked to anybody. I was just going over my testimony over and over again, but
Yeah.
it was worth it. In the
And
end.
Yeah, you were up in that little room.
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, you were up in a little room, and I think like
And you came up there right before I did it. I remember you spoke some words of encouragement over me, and that helped a lot.
yeah, and I remember that night, like there was a lot of like kids like that are still part of our youth group that impacted, like opened up, and now on this side of it, like what you don't see is conversations that I'm able to have with people who they may not even acknowledge that testimony being shared, but like how they now are vulnerable because they felt freedom to be vulnerable because you were vulnerable. Like that's so key to us sharing our testimony. Like that's part of a testimony, is like your testimony becomes somebody's story. Pastor always says that. Mm-hmm. So, all right, Kelbs.
What was the question again?
Probably your best learned lesson from the like time to be an intern.
Oh,
Like
goodness. I don't know.
you've had a lot of growth
Yeah,
from when you came to
it's-
us.
Yeah.
Because you were like one of our originals. Like we had like what I thought was going to be like 3 or 4 kids.
She was the original.
Yeah, we had like you and
She
Joss.
got
We had
everybody
you
here.
and Jossie. We had like 2 people. And I expected to have like 3 kids our first night of youth. And there was like 18 people showed up. And they all knew you.
It was a good time.
So from like internship on, what maybe something that like was your biggest learned lesson, or like?
I've learned so many lessons, and a lot of it the hard way.
Yeah.
Like, there have been so many things that have happened, like, through my walk with the Lord that have been so crucial to cultivating my relationship with Him. So it's really hard to pick one thing.
Yeah. I think there's
Do
there's
you
a few.
recall?
Yeah, I mean there's a few that stand out to me like in your life, like I feel like when you first submitted your call of like leading worship and started stepping up and doing that. I feel like that was such like a pivotal time because it pushed you outside your box. But I think had you never done that, which you know, sitting on the couch, you're a graduate of Veritas, which was our school of ministry, which, you know, that pushed you to want to go to a school of ministry, like submitting to the call of leading worship and doing that. And you went through the whole program. You went through almost like 2 years. It was like 18 months or something of a school of ministry. And that was not easy. That was a lot of commitment. And it like pushed and pulled and like was a huge thing on top of what was already happening in life. And, you know, I think it maybe had it not been for times like that where like you submitted to your call, like I think you opened up and said, I feel like I'm called to ministry when we did the Motion conference, I think is when that weekend that happened. And you said, I feel like I'm really called to lead worship. And then it was by the time we were at Eremos, you were playing and leading. I mean, I think Zoe and Sunshine and some of the other ones like helped out, but by that point you were like playing keys and stuff. So, you know, you were part of setting the atmosphere for that weekend. So,
Yeah.
you know.
That was fun.
For me, that was one of the times I saw you propulse the most from like Motion to Eremos, like in that time pushed you towards like now what people didn't see is like 2 hours ago we were recording kids church and you were on the other side of this room playing keys for 3 little kids to lead all their peers in worship, you know? So like look how far you've come to that.
It's been a journey.
It's been an adventure. It's been an adventure. Okay, so if you all if say, you know, you were moving states, moving far away, and you didn't get to see any students of ours ever again, and you said, "This is one thing I've learned that I could pass on to you," like what do you think you would say? What would it be?
Oh,
I didn't brief you on that one. That's a deep one.
Drop it on us.
Yeah, that's a.
you're putting us on the spot.
One thing that came to my mind is what I was talking earlier is find a community.
Yeah.
Find people, even if it's not this church, if it's another church, if it's someone that can push you and encourage you in the ways of the Lord always. Be vulnerable. I mean, vulnerability is how I really feel like God reaches us, and like just having somebody there for you to just walk with you through life. You can't do this life by yourself.
Right.
So that's probably what I would say.
Yeah. The first thing that I thought of was, it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and something that I'm realizing is that there isn't one thing that the Lord cannot redeem. Like, absolutely everything is redeemable by the Lord, because I feel like all of us have been having our fair share of rough times lately, and I feel like in those moments, that is when like the most beautiful growth occurs.
Yeah.
It's something I'm really noticing a lot lately, is there's just like everything is redeemed by the Lord and turned around for good. There's good in everything if you can choose to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Kelbs on the shelves.
Something I would say. Just to continue seeking and pursuing the Lord. And like, even when you don't feel like it, you've heard it before. Every day is so much better when He's in it. When you don't feel like listening to worship music, listen to worship music. You'll cry. Trust me, you'll encounter the Lord in those moments. And just the first story in the book of 1 Samuel where Hannah just continues to worship, that's what I would say. Continue to worship through every season, even when you don't feel like it, because it's so much better that way. And worship is so fun.
Yeah, and you were actually outside of our internship when this happened, but I think it's a phenomenal story about your life. Is you know, obviously you're still, y'all are all still considered to Emily and I our students too, because you're in college now, and That's part of kind of like we make sure we take care of our college students. As our college student and as a student that was in Veritas, we went to a conference with a speaker, and you were in a very, very dry time in your life and that you were trying to push through and trying to kind of like get your breakthrough. And it was in that time where you had your kind of your Hannah moment, and the Lord like you got filled with the Spirit and like, you know, filled with the gifts, and like that was a huge moment for you. And it was, from what I mean, you were so unexpected for that. I mean, it was even last minute. We were all like heading to the vans, and we're like, where's Kelby at? And she's like down in the altar at this church, and we're like, what's even happening? I'm looking around for you, and you're like down there weeping, like pouring it out before the Lord. So, I mean, I think your life is a testament to the thing that you just said, that like even in the dry seasons, you can find water if you seek the Lord. So, well, ladies, it has been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night to have you guys on, and you all are very special to Emily and I. We've seen you grow so much, and cannot wait to see where you all go in life. But we're glad that you have been part of our life and part of just getting to be in community with you. And so we love everybody out there. Thank you guys for tuning in, for joining us. We will be back again next Wednesday night. What we have in store, you just will have to tune in to see. It will be fantastic, I promise you. You will not want to miss out on our Zoom Bible study, the Breakfast Club. Make sure you check that out. If you want to become part of it, you can check out our social media accounts at Rescue Youth on Instagram, or you can email us your email and name at rescueyouth@gmail.com, and we'll put you on the list. We love you guys, and y'all know what I always say?
Yeah. Wait. Okay, we got it.
All right, you got it?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Boom, Daddy.
Stay holy.